Welcome to Table Golf. I am Bully,
And I'm Mandy Morose.
and tonight we will be discussing the discipline power presence. Before we begin, you don't need to have presence to know that the real present is our wares, our goods and services, in the form of what do we sell to the people? You can play games with us at startplaying.games. You wanna get in there, have the gift, the present of playing with myself or other people associated with this esteemed brand. Go to startplaying.games. Look for us there, or it makes a great present. A PDF copy of the Vampire Player's Guide, which is cool. It's got disciplines. Go look that up. That's enough of that. Now we're going to talk about the real stuff. Presence. The presence discipline represents the power of a vampire's personality, whether that is used to be supernatural charming and alluring and getting others to do what you want, or to be especially intimidating or dreadful and able to use your power personality to intimidate people into doing what you want. It's all about getting people to do what you want using what you got.
Presence affects emotions, not minds, so victims are still cognizant while under the effects, and also slightly unpredictable.
To use the presence discipline, you must be in the physical presence of those affected. But it can be transmitted electronically with a level 5 power that we'll get to later.
This can be detected with Sense the Unseen if a vampire is specifically looking for it, but otherwise it's too subtle to notice in most cases.
Presence powers do not stack. A lot of the disciplines allow you to add your presence rating to different social roles, but you only get to do it once depending on which power you're using.
Only Dread Gaze and Majesty have any effect on opponents in combat, as Charm has little effect once someone decides that they want to hurt you.
Presence is a mental type discipline. It is a low to medium masquerade risk, and it uses the sanguine blood resonance.
Moving on to the actual powers, we'll start with Awe. Awe draws attention to the vampire and makes others drawn to them and find them more agreeable. This lets you add your presence rating to any charisma-related roles, and once the power wears off, victims revert to their previous opinions.
Then we have Daunt. So it works as the opposite of Awe. Daunt makes the user seem more threatening and dangerous and actually repels people. You also get to add your presence rating, but you add it to intimidation rolls. And an enemy access to succeed on a resolve plus composure roll to even attack you if they're not already in combat. Cannot be used simultaneously with Awe.
Lingering Kiss. This temporarily empowers those fed upon by the user, but also makes the kiss addicting. This addiction can be harmful or fatal to mortals. No rouse check is required and can be used anytime the vampire feeds and sates at least one hunger. The victim gains a bonus equal to half of the user's presence rating to one social attribute of their choice for a single night. However, once this phase, the victim goes through withdrawal and receives a dice penalty equal to the bonus on all actions not spent working towards getting their fix. This can't be used on other vampires who are under effects of the blood bond.
Entrancement. Entrancement allows the vampire to focus their supernatural allure on a single person, making the victim overcome with fascination or even infatuation. The affected person will do their best to remain in the vampire's good graces, but they won't cause themselves or their loved ones physical harm or break one of their personal tenets without a repeated roll.
Dread Gaze. The vampire reveals their monstrous nature and instills a single person with complete terror. Mortals will flee or are incapacitated with fear, while other kindreds submit or potentially enter a fear frenzy.
Irresistible Voice. This is an amalgam that requires Dominate 1, and this allows a vampire to use their Dominate powers, but with their voice. So instead of requiring eye contact, anyone that can hear the vampire can be affected by a Dominate power. Though this doesn't work through voices transmitted through electronics.
Summon. The vampire can summon any person they've previously used awe, entrancement, majesty, or has tasted their blood. The user concentrates for 5 minutes on the person being summoned, and that person hears the summoning and feels a pull towards them. On a critical, the summon will arrive as quickly as possible.
Then we have the big one, the one that everyone wants when they get presence, which is majesty. This is the pinnacle of presence. It makes the vampire appear otherworldly and being of absolute, almost divine authority. This sort of combines the awe and daunt, we scary or beautiful type thing, or it could be whatever you want. It could be a painfully beautiful creature or a dreadfully terrifying monster. Either way, the victim cannot act in opposition of the user without a roll. And even with a roll, if they succeed, they're only momentarily free. Though the victim will act in self-preservation, otherwise they'll do everything in their power to make the vampire happy.
And the last one, star magnetism. This allows presence powers to be used across electronic devices such as phones, live streams, so on. Recorded messages do not retain this effect.
Okay, so that's presence. I think presence is... I like presence, especially thematically. I think presence is a very, like, you understand where they came from with this power. And a lot of vampiric lore, you know, vampires are supernaturally charming and whatnot. And this is sort of the mechanics to support that force of personality that these alluring creatures or scary creatures should have. What are your thoughts? What are your presence thoughts? You've played characters with presence.
I like presence a lot. It does, kind of like some of the other mental powers we've talked about, it does a lot of the work for you. So you don't have to worry about the masquerade or physical abilities or things like that. It's fun. It can be easy. I mean, it depends on how you use it, obviously, but I like tossing that in there. Take some of the legwork out for you.
Yeah, it's another... there was a storyteller, kind of like Dominate. This is another one you have to be a little wary of, especially when they get really good at it. It can be an easy, like, I win button. Like, all right, I pop presence. Everyone listens to me. What's next? Though there's subtle restrictions that I think a lot of people don't really realize as far as, like with awe. People have awe because awe is free. Every time someone looks at them, they're like, okay, I pop awe, which is fine. There's a power, use it. But I think a lot of people forget that people's opinions go back to what they were before awe. So if someone walks in the room, they know you, they don't like you, you use awe, you have a pleasant conversation. Later that night, they're going to go back to being like, no, that person sucks. A lot of people, which is cool of like an in-the-moment thing, but I think this is one that, like, as a storyteller, you got to pay attention to those subtle restrictions, and it doesn't work in combat unless you have, like, majesty or something really good.
Yeah.
So it has ways of being balanced that are easy to miss if you don't really pay attention.
Yeah. One of the powers I use that is less, like, a prominent, what you think about as presence is summon. I got to use that in our Call of London game, and it was really, really cool. It didn't quite work out exactly, but it was a really, like, neat thing to use that, again, it's kind of situational, may not feel like it has a lot of payoff, like, throughout the regular game, but I did think that was a really neat one to use. Especially, like, if you're more of, like, a character that plays where they, like, use their powers a lot on people, you could summon a whole host of people to you if you needed it or whatever. So that one's kind of neat, and I don't think it falls into, like, the regular, like, the rest of the category of presence powers.
Yeah, it's not as, like, flashy of a power, but there's, like, something kind of unnerving about, like, a person just being like, I can feel this person wants me to be at their side now. Like, this, I don't know, it's kind of a power play that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So where do you rate presence in your, like, categories of powers and things?
I like it thematically, but I think I've had a lot of experience with people really trying to smash the I win button with it. So it's like, I don't know. It's been sour to me a little bit, but it's not the power's fault. It's people's fault. But it is because it's such an easy, like, you don't have to worry about the masquerade or do anything, and there's and you can't fault people for like, I have the power, I'm gonna
Yeah.
use it. So like, of course, but it does get to a thing, especially once people get like entrancement, like they're gonna use entrancement constantly, so you have to sort of get ready for that. Which is fine. It's fun, and I think that's a cool thing about being a vampire. I like the force of personality thing, but I guess from a storyteller standpoint, sometimes it gets a little to me, but it's fine.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I like presence. I do think it can be overused, though. I think part of why I like it is the scary parts of it, like the daunt, the like even dread gaze, lingering kiss, even a little bit. It has like a weird, like dark twist to it.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen that as much, but I've seen
Yeah.
you lean into some of like the weirder, like scarier parts of
Yeah.
presence, which I like
I think
personally.
there's something so cool about like you, especially like I feel like beautiful characters take this a lot. So the fact that you can have a beautiful character be the scariest thing a human has ever seen, or even like some like Kindred, like just terrifying, like with Majesty. I think when I've used it before, I've used it as like a scary situation, and that was like really cool, to like be a divine entity that was terrifying, and I like that part of it. It's like very aggressive, like use of beauty. I think it's a really interesting way of using it. So I like it in combination with other more mechanically driven like powers and abilities and things like that. So
Yeah. I like how it's designed where some of the powers I feel like you're always going to pick the one. Even though presence, most people pick like the likable, personable, charismatic route. There's a full other route. So they have Daunt for entrancement, they have Dread Gaze. The Majesty sort of combines them. So like they have these two paths you could take is like, so I think it is cool that you can lean into being like, I'm not like this is the Toreador, the ones most associated with this, and they're like the hot vampires, where it could be a thing where like I said, you're just like your presence is just like too much for people in like a scary way. I think it's really cool to lean into.
yeah.
And I think it's a really attractive one for like new players. It's a really fun thing for like if you're trying to get someone to like understand vampire, like this is a cool thing. Like yeah, I get that. I know vampires are magically sexy. Essentially, is what this power is. And like it's a cool one that sort of, like I said, thematically really fits and can be interesting that way. Like I said, it's nuanced. And it can be a little challenging from a storyteller standpoint, because you have to remember it's all based on it's emotion based, like so it's kind of takes another layer to really get in the mind of someone being affected by it, but it's cool.
I also like that it like delineates that this person is still cognizant and slightly unpredictable. So just because like you use awe on them doesn't mean they're still not gonna rush you because they're so excited to see you. Like there's so many like different
playing with people's emotions is like kind of dangerous, kind of unpredictable. So it's like I said, another cool way to like a good. I think this gives a lot. This requires a little more work on the storyteller's part to get the most out of it, or to make it interesting when a player uses it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you gave a really cool example of like someone pops off, okay, everyone's nice to me now, but it's like someone, I mean, as we know, someone can be too nice and way too into you and pushy, and like it's a thing where like it's sort of backfires.
Yeah.
Not that you should punish someone for using it, but there's nuances
it's unpredictable
there.
yeah, and I think that's important as far as like a player's understanding of it, is that doesn't mean the world is open to you, or just you can just do whatever. Like it's unpredictable because you are using a power on people's emotions, which doesn't restrict them from acting irrationally. Like it changes their emotions. It may have predictable effects. So I think that's something good as a player, so you don't get mad at your storyteller when you do get rushed in a crowd because someone's so excited to see you, or like having a paparazzi moment, like something terrible may still happen just because they're happy to see you.
The tension could be bad.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like you sold me on it more. Now it's gone from to...
You can weaponize it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, a little better. Okay. That's presence.
Like, okay, catch you later. Hey, see you around.
That's it. That's our opinions on presents. Okay,
Mhm.
catch you later. See you around. Let us know what you think about this power and why, if your opinions are different than us on this particular discipline, feel free to explain why you're wrong.
Exactly.
Bye. Hey, welcome to
Hey.
welcome to the show, everybody.
Hey.
Is this how we finish out our the death throes of tablecloth? I gotta. I see you like getting your eyebrow ready. What?
Lingering kiss.
Okay, your character dropped.
No, it's okay. I got it together.
More sip.
One more puff.
That should be our intro. That's kind of a fun intro.
That would be really funny. Because then I could smoke while we do the episodes because it would be an established bit.
I've never stopped you. One more sip. One more puff. Welcome to the table.